Right, because I get like these creases.
It's fine. I don't see anything unless I'm like focusing on you. Hello, everybody. Today's a little bit of a different video. I'm obviously with my girlfriend, Alexah.
Hi.
Hell yeah. And today I thought it would be a cool idea to talk about the bands that she's put me onto, because I don't find every band I talk about, right?
Yeah.
It looks like I'm holding you captive. So yeah, man, I obviously love giving credit to people who put me on, and she's basically the person who puts me on to all these bands the most. And that started a long time ago, and we're going to talk about a bunch of bands, the stories that I remember, how I heard it, you know, stuff like that. That being said, like and subscribe, and let's get into it. The first band that we're going to talk about is a band I'm not very educated on, but I think they're European, right?
This is why I didn't know. I don't know.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to put that in there. This band is called Hooverphonic, and Hooverphonic is like a trip hop thing. And do you remember listening to it around me? Because I do.
So the first time I remember showing him Hooverphonic was we were driving to Walnut Creek to go thrifting, and I was actually listening to them in my headphones. I heard a song that I was like, oh, I want Ricky to hear this too. And it was We All Float on their No More Sweet Music album. So I showed him that song, and it was like beautiful. We were floating in a cloud. But he doesn't remember that, but that's how I remember it.
Anyways, the first time I remember hearing Hooverphonic was when we would take a trip to Fort Bragg. And in Fort Bragg, there's a bunch of oceans and stuff like that. So, you know, it just blended in with the scenery and beautifulness. And every time I looked at her, I was like, wow, this music is kind of hitting right now. So that's my memory with Hooverphonic. She obviously talking about thrifting in Walnut Creek, two different settings. Now, I don't really remember the albums because I haven't really been in tune with their music just from, you know, listening to it around Alexah, but she has a couple favorite albums and she's going to talk to you about them. So here you go.
I'm just going to tell you the names. I'm not going to go into detail. Two of my favorite albums by them is No More Sweet Music and then Blue Wonder Power Milk.
So this next band is a band that I'm a huge fan of now, obviously, and a bunch of people coincide this band with the band Hum as well, which Hum, one of my favorite bands of all time, if not my favorite. And this band that I'm about to talk about, I used to hate because the sound of the singer's voice reminded me of Gavin Rossdale from Bush, and I don't like Bush, and that kind of like turned me off. So ever since I listened to them, I was just like, damn, this is garbage. Things came around, looked into the music a little bit deeper, and I'm talking about the band Failure. And Failure, obviously a very space oriented music type of thing going on, and my memory of hearing it for the first time was when we were driving in the back roads of Yuba City, California. Not to dox ourselves, but yeah, it was kind of just this scenery stuff again. Do you have any recollection of that experience, or what do you remember?
I listened to Another Space song by them like over and over again around him, so I think that's the song that got him into Failure. And then after he started showing more interest, I actually started listening to like all of their albums, because before that I only listened to like Another Space song and Stuck on You and Saturday Savior. I actually listened to Saturday Savior a lot because I was all angsty in my moods. I like listen to lyrics a lot when I listen to songs, and they made me mad. I don't know.
So during this time, we were not dating or anything like that. We were kind of on and off and stuff. And to be honest, it was just me backing away and just being like, get away from me. I don't want to commit, you know, the usual boy thing. She kind of resonated with that song. Not anymore looking back because of bad memories and stuff like that. So don't be stupid like me. Just commit if there's something special. Enough about Failure though. We're moving on to the band Ribbon Fix, and I remember listening to this band with her. It's usually in the car whenever she puts me on, and I kind of Shazam it because I don't want her to put me on and, you know, actually have to tell her that, oh my god, you have great music taste. So pretty much late 90s emo, hardcore, whatever you want to call it, and I love that music. It kind of reminds me of stuff like Sunny Day Real Estate and stuff like that. So
my favorite song by them is Tearjerker, which I think is one of their most popular, but it's a really good song. Also, One Last Cigarette. All their albums are good.
8.
Our hearts are hecka sweating.
So yeah, that's pretty much it about Ribbon Fix. There isn't really a crazy memory. That's just, you know, listening to music in the car with your girlfriend, and you know how that be. So let's move on. Moving on to the band Teethe. So my first memory of listening to Teethe was with Alexah in the car, and we were probably going to Dunkin' and then thrifting because that's what our, daily activities consisted of back then, and still a little bit now, but not as much. And I was blown away by the music because it sounded very duster-ish, and I thought it was in the mid 90s or something like that, early 2000s. Nope, they're very modern and killing it right now.
All this music that I've shown him, I discovered when I was really sad. And I was like, let me show you this really sad music so you can be sad with me. But he doesn't really get like that, so I just am sad. And he's like, this is fire. But we bonded over it, so whatever,
It is fire, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's good music. I wouldn't listen to it if it wasn't.
So yeah, shout out Teethe, great slowcore band of today, and they're always making great music, so that's all I have to say about that experience. Now this next band, Alexah's very excited to talk to you guys about. I don't really know why, but let me tell you my memory of listening to this band that she put me onto, and this band is Drop 9 Teens. So let me tell you about the Drop 9 Teens memory that I have instilled in my brain. This is pretty much the whole essence of the video is me finding music or listening to the music that she plays in the car. And Drop 9 Teens was playing while we were in the Wendy's drive-thru. I was getting a spicy chicken sandwich, listening to some Kick the Tragedy, and I was like, damn, this is some good stuff. All of this is hitting right now. Do you have the same memory, or is it something a little bit different?
I just listened to Kick the Tragedy on repeat. Their whole Delaware album I listen to all the time. I honestly don't remember a specific memory of me showing him. He either asks me or he doesn't ask me, and he uses Shazam like he said, or he tries to look at my phone to see what song is on my telephone.
You gotta be sneaky with it. You gotta be sneaky wiki.
Or you can just give me the satisfaction of showing you a band
No.
Whatever.
So yeah, that's pretty much it, you know what I'm saying? Drop 9 Teens had a classic album, Delaware, and yeah, that's pretty much it, man. So this next band, a very famous band, and actually we're going to bring up two bands because they're kind of in the same realm, kind of, in that gothy post-punk era of 80s, 70s, stuff like that. Siouxsie and the Banshees and Bauhaus. And I don't really have too many memories of Siouxsie and the Banshees, but I do remember hearing a lot of Bauhaus, and that was with the song, I forgot the title of it, but it talked a lot about peaches and cream or something like that, or oh, to be the cream, something like that. So yeah.
It was All We Ever Wanted Was Everything by Bauhaus. I listened to that song a lot. Once again, because I was sad and I liked listening to sad music. This was last year, spring and winter. I went through this phase of listening to Siouxsie and the Banshees is not sad music, but Bauhaus makes some sad music, And I also really liked just the post-punk sound. So I listened to a lot of that kind of music. I don't know what else to say. I'm not good at this, man.
It's okay. You're doing pretty good for your first video.
I was super goth. I still have the goth mentality, and their mindset and their beliefs, all that. I just presented really, really goth, and I was like, oh my gosh, no one's gonna understand the music I listen to unless I look that way too. I don't know. That sounds so stupid, but he knows. I did the full-on trad goth makeup. I dressed in all black. I wore the flowy. I still like to dress that way. It's not how I present myself every day now. That's pretty much it. And on to the next band, Cryogeyser. We listened to Cryogeyser together, I believe was driving to the bins at 6:30 in the morning. And that's pretty much that. He vibed with it. And then Sonic Peace is also a really good song by Cryogeyser. We actually just saw Cryogeyser in concert a few months ago. Really good in concert as well. Make really good music, sound really good live.
True, man. I remember going to the bins all the time, and the thing about the bins where we used to live is that it would take 40 minutes or something to go there, so we had to wake up at 4, get ready, dip at 5 something. Oh no, 6 something or something like that. Yeah, and then get there and chill for a bit. They opened at 8, and not every time, but I just vividly remember listening to Cryogeyser a lot. And the thing that I liked about Cryogeyser is that it sounded very, just older than what it is. And that's what I find with all of these bands is all the newer bands sound very vintage or whatever. And they have that modern twist as well, so that's always beautiful. And when we saw them live, it was really fun. They sounded exactly like their records, and I was just blown away.
Oh, by the way, he actually got the set list from them. We were at the barricade, and he asked them, hey, can I have your set list? And they're like, yeah, man. So he got it, and the next day, he washed a pair of pants, which he put the set list in, and completely destroyed the set list. He was like trying to find it for days, and I find it in his pants pocket, and I was like, oh my god, this is the set list.
So yeah, my bad, Cryogeyser, my bad, but let's move on.
This next band is very near and dear to our hearts, because we kind of discovered them and all their music during a really hard time in our relationship. It's Mojave 3. We're having a rough patch in our relationship, and I listen to love songs on the radio a lot around him, and like on the way to Fort Bragg, driving around the ocean side and stuff. That's basically how I remember him discovering it, was just me playing love songs on the radio on repeat, and then Candle Song 3. I'm noticing a trend in this. The music, a lot of the music he's discovered by me is just music I think is sad.
I've been trying to say this for the past half an hour now. Not really, but close to half an hour. And basically, Mojave 3 has a couple Slow Dive members, which is very cool. And I think that's what really gravitated towards, you know, the whole emotional thing. They're really good at creating that. And my memory with Mojave 3 is back in Fort Bragg. Obviously, Fort Bragg is by the ocean, and there's a bunch of waves. And whenever we were playing this, you know, that rough patch or whatever, we mentioned it a bunch. I kind of look bad because during that time, I was really mean. So Alexah would play love songs on the radio the whole time, back and forth, and just repeat, implement it in my head for years to come, and I still have it in my brainisms. So really good music from a very good band, and you know, it's from a weird time or a dark time or whatever you want to say in our relationship, but I still look at it with bright and loviness. So now it kind of has a different meaning to me, because every time I listen to it, I just think of all the good times with Alexah and just stuff like that, you know, just creating all these memories.
Love songs on the radio is probably like in my top 10 favorite songs of all time, and I will never get tired of it. Yeah, that's all I have to say. On to the next.
What are you? I'm putting that in. Now, we've talked about all these bands that have a lot of lovey-dovey, you know, influence type of sounds within the band, but let's move on to some very hardcore, the hardest core you'll ever hear about, and that's the band Knocked Loose. And a lot of people are actually going to laugh at that because, you know, people just don't think anything's hardcore nowadays. So, like I've said on the channel before, I have talked about hardcore bands, but I'm very not as well versed as I want to be, and it all started when I listened to Knock Loose because of this Humanoid, and I really liked it. And for those of you who don't know, I'm very soft with my music. I'm very indie rock and alternative rock, but this hardcore mother effer is very within the hardcore realm. Even though most of the bands that we've talked about are not very hardcore or whatever, you know, she still has that big ass bone in her body where it's like she's listening to very aggressive music.
Knocked Loose isn't the only hardcore I've shown him, but it's one of the ones that I've actually shown him that he's like, oh, I actually like this, because a lot of the stuff I show him, he doesn't like.
And we want to make it clear that Knock Loose isn't the only hardcore band that we listen to, because I know a lot of hardcore people are going to be like, oh my god, look at these posers. Sticking to that aggressive realm, I really remember listening to this band that I'm about to talk about right now all the time around her. She doesn't really play them anymore as much, but she's still a fan of the band, and this band is Teethe. And I became a fan of it because it just sounded very interesting and very hard. So yeah, I don't really have that much to say about it, but I'm a real big fan of Teethe and all the music that they've put out over the years.
So I would listen to Teethe, you know, around him, blah, blah, blah. We ended up in some record store in Folsom called The Cave, and he so happened to find a Teethe shirt, and he got me the Teethe shirt. Well, he actually wanted it for himself, and I begged him to give it to me, and so he did. It wouldn't have fit you anyways.
And she put a bunch of bleach all over that shirt because she was working at work, so you know what? She got a bunch of bleach out of that shirt.
No, I bleached my hair in it. I actually just bleached my hair in it, like, 2 weeks ago, and I destroyed the back, but that just makes it look more, like, rustic, you know? Vintage, grunge, whatever the heck. Okay, so I started listening to Teethe around the time that I started getting out of my weird sad mood, and I listened to Teethe to, like, make me all hype. Not make me, it's just like really energetic music, in my opinion. I really like their album Leprosy, Pull the Plug, you know.
Yeah, every time she listens to Death, she bounces off the walls. It's kind of crazy. You guys should see it.
It just makes me puts me in a good headspace, I guess. I have a lot of good memories associated with listening to Death around Ricky.
So that pretty much concludes this video, a very different video. I never thought I would bring my lovely human here on my channel, but thank you, Alexah, for doing so. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Thank you so much, Alexah, for helping me with this video. You really carried. You carried me big time with my big stomach.
Your giant head that's 4,000 times bigger than mine in the viewfinder.
That's that. Like and subscribe.
Keep the music alive.
Goodbye.